keep it real and admit that some teachers enjoy attention from students.
Meet Adriana Williams. This is a former teacher in Monroe Comprehensive High School who was caught with allegations of essaying a child. But it's not just any child, it's her former student.
Why do you keep coming down this hall?
She be calling me, y'all. She be emailing me to come down.
Why you telling stories?
Hey bestie, I really hope that you see this message.
But if you on some like we're besties, oh no, bro, pack him up, pack him up, get out. What's good, peeps? It's your boy JP back at it again with another reaction video, and today we are reacting to OhMeezzy. Shout out to OhMeezzy. And today's video is cool teachers are ruining children. I know there's a lot going on. Texas just passed this new law where kids they want you to lock up your phones. It's crazy now. So schools are doing a whole lot to keep up with this new technology age. And I guess cool teachers is the new birth out of that new technology age. I don't know. We about to find out. But before we find out, I need you to hit the like and subscribe button. Join the Prosper gang. We keeping it PG. It's a whole lot of prosperity going on around this mug. So without further ado, let's get into the video.
Give me meow, give me her, give me funds. In the boardroom looking bored cause I'm not here for pleasing the men.
We're not getting tired of the professional people being unprofessional. There's been this growing trend going around, especially with the content creation, social media, TikTokification era that we do live in now, where everybody wants to share every single aspect of their lives. And because the mundane and the boring don't necessarily make it to the FYP pages for everybody to see, they want to live it up. They want to make it be as big as possible, even to the extent of doing things that are unprofessional. And while this video might stem from the teacher claiming to be the cool teacher, which in and of itself, I don't even understand why that's something that people would strive to be. That's a little oxymoronic. But while this video might stem from the cool teacher comments, unprofessionalism has been bleeding into professional environments for a long time now. We're losing the recipes. It's the reason why I had to put on my Sunday's best in order to show people that, yes, you can still wear a tie and look good. If I do say so myself, look a little handsome. I may hand you some.
A lot of teachers have a tendency to get upset with what the students consider the cool teachers. As a person that I guess you can say that students would consider like, oh, I want to be in this class. It's like, you can't be mad at that teacher for being who they are. You're holding bitterness against the wrong thing. And if you're a cool teacher, you get it. Not that we want to be cool, is that the students make you a pillar of resources, emotional stability, whatever feels like home. The students themselves make you that.
Now I'm gonna put on my old head hat for a second. I grew up in an era where there was clear distinction.
I'm gonna keep it at that while. You know, let me go grab my headphones. Hold on. That's gonna be an issue. All right, I'm gonna keep it at that while with y'all. As I get older, you know, when you a kid and you looked at your cool teacher, you saw the gap was so wide, right? Back then when I was in school, social media wasn't, well, I think all we had back then was Facebook and MySpace. And if you remember Tumblr, I think it was Tumblr, you're like Tumblr or whatever, right? And that's what the only thing we really had back then. So the gap between teachers and students was so far. Like, you didn't have access to your teachers. You didn't have access to your teachers' personal lives. You felt like a kid. They felt like an adult, at least for me and where I grew up at. You know what I mean? So, like, the gap was so big. Nowadays, with social media making the world small, I could only assume that the gap has narrowed, right? And because with the gap narrowing, it's so easy to be the cool teacher because now these students can see your personal life. Now they can see you outside of school. Now they can see how you act in other settings. Now they can feel closer to an adult and you can still feel closer to a child. I have a whole bit, not a whole bit, but I have a whole rant that I would probably go on another video, how I feel like social media has allowed us to grow up slower. I know it sounds crazy, but if you really think about it, like people are growing up slower. People are like, you realize that teachers her age, I'm sure she's in her 20s. Back then, I didn't have teachers that looked like that with the lace front and all. No, like barely, if any, like they were in their 20s, but they looked like they were in their 30s. Now you got people in their 20s looking like they look like the same kids as in their classrooms. Neither here nor there. Just hear me out though. So anyway, with me going in this direction, I do think that the older I get, I see these. I'm like, maybe these teachers aren't mature enough to really be teachers. Like if you really think about it, the YNs are only like, or the YNs don't like a YN go up to like 21, 22. That's old enough to be your kid's teacher. This is a scary time we live in. I'm just saying.
Between authority figures and your friends. The authority figures weren't striving to be cool. They were authority figures. They were well respected. They were sought to as people who had a voice and respected opinion, and they were intelligent, etc., etc. Now, I think a common misconception in this conversation is that these teachers now have to conform to whatever respectability politics that are laid out by some bigger, wider, vaster system that has control over, minorities and that are putting down people. And I'm saying no to that. Like, I don't think that dreads make you less of a person to listen to. Like, that doesn't make you less intelligent because maybe you have a different hair color or you have an ear piercing or something like that. I don't think that that's what that is. The problem becomes when you believe that all these norms that are in place just serve no purpose at all and we should just let them all go. Why is it not strange that a teacher is striving to be the cool teacher around a bunch of teenagers? And the way that he's going about doing that is not by being a great listening ear, not by being understanding, not by doing a bunch of different math problems and meeting them where they are. But no, he's depicting that based off of how he dresses, at least in the video shown online. I know.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, the teachers we had, like, in back, like, grand, so I get a clear understanding. I was in high school from 09 to 2012. Started high school in 09 or 08 or something like that. All the way to 2012, right? So I've been I've been out of high school for a long time. Grant, my high school teachers were like, they were in their 20s in 09, 2012 or older. You know what I mean? So they grew up in an era without all this technology. They not trying to look cool for social media. They're not trying to make TikTok dances for social media. I think not only do social media need to be banned out of school as a whole. Like, I don't have kids, but if I saw my teacher doing TikTok dances in her classroom with my kid in there, I want them out that class. I'm sorry. I know it's not relevant to them teaching, but I don't know. Maybe just the era I grew up in, I saw teachers in a different light. I saw professionalism. I saw them carrying themselves with a certain amount of grace, them prioritizing their job over social media clout. I think social media does something to our brains to where it's not that you can't do your job, it's what you prioritize in your job. Do you prioritize like my job? I could be doing social media stuff while I'm out and about doing my job, but I don't. I prioritize doing my work or listening to YouTube or podcasts or whatever the case may be. But I don't prioritize getting on social media and being a social media whatever my job is. I just don't. I don't know. To me, that just screams big ass red flag.
People aren't going to want to hear this, but there are certain professions in which you have to be professional through and through, from tip to toe, top to bottom. I don't want to see my teacher,
I think teacher is one of that,
doing some sort of TikTok dance in the damn classroom.
So I ain't tripping. He said the exact same thing. I know, because to me, it's just not professionalism. It lacks. It shows where you're. It's not showing it. It's not saying you're not smart. It's not saying you can't do your job. It's saying what you prioritize. And if you can't get your priorities straight, how can you then install or be an example for my children to have their priorities straight? I'm sorry. And I know you're not doing it while they're in. I hope you're not doing it while they're in class, but it don't matter. I just don't think it's perfect. Like, stop it. Go find something better to do.
Especially when I know what these test scores are in America. Like, I just don't want to see that. And it seems like every time we have this conversation, people feel as if we're putting people down. But the reality is these teachers enjoy the attention from their students more than anything. And that right there is weird.
Prioritize, like what is your priority? Prioritize the right shit.
Just keep it real and admit that some teachers enjoy attention from students. I'm a teacher. I've been a teacher for a long time, almost 10 years. And one thing that I noticed really quick was when I would wear fitted clothing, kids noticed. They noticed. I remember one year, kids accused me all year of having a BBL. After that year, I decided, you know what? I'm not wearing tight clothes to school anymore, because that's not the kind of attention that I want at school. But there's a time and a place for everything, right? Like wearing those tight clothes, those tight skirts, low cut clothes, not for school. The big part of being a teacher is just modeling how to navigate the world, modeling how to dress appropriately.
We've all been in these situations before. Students getting specialized treatment from the cool teacher, teachers wanting to fit in by knowing the songs and the dances, or watching the television shows that the kids are watching, listening to the music, trying to be a part of the in crowd. Those people have not mentally passed where they are when they were in those same classrooms, sitting in those same desks.
Exactly. And this is why I say it's gonna be very we're gonna have a culture shift to where it's gonna be very telling and very hard to deal with. Like, the transition is gonna be hard for teachers that grew up off social media. Like, when you I ain't gonna say grew up off social media, but social media was a large part of your life. Like, for me, social media kicked in when I was like say coming out of high school. So like I was like 18 hitting 20 when social media really started like rocking. And that's still kind of an early age in your life. It'd be different if social media hit you at like 35. Like when you was 35, social media really started hitting the planes. So at that point, social media won't dictate the way you move with your life. I mean, some people still don't grow up even at that age, but you get what I'm trying to say. I think it's going to be a hard transition for teachers that's trying to become role models for their students when social media takes up a big part of your life. Like, you use social media every time you go out. You use social media every time you in front of. If you want the type of people to take a picture of your meal every time you eat and put it on social media is gonna be a hard thing for you in your daily life, especially dealing around children or around your job or just in general, like. Because it covers that much of your life. And it's going to be a hard transition. It's going to be hard to turn that off when you're in front of students. It just is what it is. And it's the wiring, because none of this stuff has checks and balances. It don't. There's no social media time from 9 to 5. And then you have to be off. Like, nobody tells you when and how and when not to use social media. And because of that, That's that gray area that fucks people up.
Not getting attention from somewhere else, so they're gonna get it from people who are forced to spend 8 hours a day with them. Looking at the teacher in the beginning, there are pictures of him showing his midriff off. There's even outfits where he's like showing that he has a grill in his mouth. Like,
And he fly. But that's what I'm saying. You're a teacher, bro. You're not a fashion model. If you were my student's teacher and I had a daughter, a son too, because maybe I don't want him trying to adopt those manners because he's trying to look up to you. I want that little man out of my class. Straight up. I just and it ain't no shot to him. I know he fly, he do his thing. This ain't the time and place for that, bro. Like, who are you impressing?
why does nobody think that that is like not okay? And before I get the crowd of people in the comments that are saying, yo, if I had a teacher who dressed this way, I would pay more attention, I would respect my teacher more, I'd be more willing to learn. That's cap. We just need the full stop.
Of course, because you weren't it's cap because you're not paying attention to the source material. You're paying attention. You're parasocializing yourself with that teacher. You don't give a about the source material. You don't care about none of that. And I know in this age of AI that source material might matter less and less because you can just go to AI for it. But that ain't the conversation. With all things remaining the same, no, that's not I call cap. I do too. And if them people in my comments, I care less. You're not gonna scare me off with nothing. I said what I said. You know what I mean?
And not say that. There's studies out there that talk about how looks being attractive or unattractive can have effects on whether students are paying attention to a teacher or not. And there's also studies that show that, hey, dressing a certain way, dressing more professionally, proceeds to then give students a higher value. Like they view you just better in the grand scheme of things. I know that sounds crazy, but we are
It's not, because it's a psychological issue with it. Not a psychological issue, but it's a psychological connection with that. The way it's branding. Like if you carry yourself with a sense of grace and a sense of professionalism, it creates that separational barrier I was talking about when I was a kid. At that point, most kids aren't or haven't been in environments of that level of professionalism. So because of that, they see you as they see that hierarchy and that separation gap with your level of professionalism because they know they haven't reached that level. But when you dress like them, you act like them, you turn up like them, it closes that gap. And then they lose respect for you. Whether you are professional in the real world or not, it don't matter. It's the way they view you. And that's that psychological connection that they're making with the way you dress and the way you act.
A certain way. To me, one of the reasons why I want to stop this and nip this in the bud is because when that slope starts to get slippery, it starts to slide in left, right, sideways, all the way downhill. When I was young, there were boundaries set with the people that were considered professionals in my life, whether it be teachers, doctors, attorneys, or whoever the case may be. But nowadays, when I scroll social media, I see things like teachers getting their hair braided with their students in class during class time, which is insane and out of pocket and totally inappropriate. And then I also see these teachers doing these long, lengthy handshakes, hugging their students, etc., etc. Now, I would hope that a lot of people agree with me that the teacher getting his hair undone by the students is weird as hell. Like he's claiming that it makes a deeper connection with his students. What more deeper of a
that's their parents' job. And I know not everybody got those type of parents, unfortunately. But that's not your time and place for that, bro. It's a way you could create a at this point, teachers need to be like therapists, my nigga. I said it. Teachers need to be like therapists. They need to have like less personality. Teachers need to be like ChatGPT 5. Less personality, a lot more versatility, and a lot more knowledge.
Connection do you need than to just, give them their assignments? I don't know, make sure that they're passing their classes. But even as I extend over to the woman that is doing the handshakes, one of the main problems that I have is that we're showing the kids' faces now. We're not even like blurring the kids' faces. You've got your social media presence out there so much that you're showing what seems to be like little kids' faces on the internet. When are the professionals gonna be professional? And it only makes it worse because we've enabled this behavior for so long that it allows people to become ultra defensive when somebody tries to correct them for their actions.
During this time, hey bestie, I really hope that you see this message.
I'm sorry. If you have this much of a connection to your students, I don't want you around my kid either. I'm sorry. I want you to have a bond. I want you to, have some potential, see potential in my kid, want my kid to do well. But if you on some like we're besties, oh no, bro, pack his ass, pack him up, pack him up, get out. We're besties, get out. You can go. You ain't calling my kid your bestie. Grow up, bro. Grow up and you're recording this. That's what I'm talking about. No.
How are you? I hope that you're okay. Our class misses you so much, and we really want you to
well, they're calling you bestie. Either way, get them out.
know that we love you and we miss you so much and can't wait for you to come back.
Yeah, that's that same teacher who was having the kids undo his hair. He got suspended, and this is how he responds, in the freakiest, nastiest way possible. I don't think people really realize this, but you spend a lot of your formative years in a classroom. Teachers ultimately become role models. I know that people talk about your households and your family and stuff like that having a major influence on you, but think about it. A professional person in a professional setting, the first time that you usually see those is potentially the doctor when you're like a kid or whatever the case may be, but then also a teacher in the classroom. They are role models to the world. And if they aren't upholding those standards, well, then it makes sense how we can then go into life not understanding, there should be some standard for how I don't know, go do an interview.
So I just got dress coded during an interview. And then they decided to reschedule the interview with me for tomorrow. But before they rescheduled, the lady was like, would you like to come back? Like go change and then come back? And I was like, no.
And you know what? I like how he connected the dots. Because though this lady probably didn't grow up with teachers like that, this is going to be the results of the kids that did grow up with teachers like that. They're going to lack professionalism. They're going to think, well, my teacher was able to do it, so like this is how I see the world. And you're not teaching them how the real world should be, because it's all about you and how you feel, and you want the attention from your students and not preparing and not focusing and putting the priority. See, I'm going back to priorities, putting the priority back on focusing on what's best for the kids in the real world. Hold on. Hey, no.
These are the shorts. Let me turn to the side for y'all. These are the shorts.
This young woman is flabbergasted at the fact that she got flagged for dress code. I mean, you have on shorts to an interview. And I don't even want to say that it's your fault. You weren't taught. While you were in school, you probably had the cool teacher who was wearing basketball shorts and a t-shirt and being unprofessional to the students and the whole environment as a whole. So you think that this is normal. When you get into a professional setting, this is what you're supposed to do. But I'm here to tell you, hey, no, that's not it. But every action doesn't just happen as a one-off. People become unprofessional because the standards weren't set and met at the beginning of their lives, right? The teachers dress a certain way, they pass the interview looking a certain way, and then they come into the office dressed for a professional corporate job, getting off their office siren fits.
How to dress like an office siren. First, start with a fitted blouse, turtleneck, or high neck tank. Next, a pencil skirt or low-waisted fitted trousers. For shoes, a pointed kitten heel. Put your hair either up and a little undone or down and sleek. The most important part, a pair of rectangular glasses.
So definitely the skirt is way too short, and the thigh highs are definitely making it worse, particularly them being visible. I think if that skirt was a couple inches longer, I probably would never say anything. I think it's cute outside of this. Like, I wouldn't wear this to work.
It's not even just that the outfits themselves are outrageous, but the concept of being something that is luring men or luring women or luring people's attention in a sexual manner at work is what's really kind of throwing me off. Like, I can already tell that these people who are putting on these outfits have never worked in a corporate building, because first and foremost, it's cold. Like, nobody's wearing those things to this cold environment. I'm just trying to stay bundled up and warm so I don't go to sleep. But second off, and most importantly, I'm not trying to get Janice from accounting to be turned on sexually by the things that I have on. Now, if it happens to happen while I have a polo shirt on, that's a whole different conversation. But like me showing off my thigh meat in order to get James from the IT department to like lick his lips or something like that, that's the weird thing. The reason why I started off at the dress being unprofessional is because that's just the first portion of the iceberg. It goes deeper because these are the same people who then make excuses as to why they can do unprofessional things on the platform. If we extended this to any other profession, it probably makes sense. Probably like the medical field, right? You would expect them to dress a certain way and act a certain way, right? But again, it all blends into each other. That's why there's people like that therapist from a couple years ago who openly went on the platform and outed her male patients. Ultimately, she got fired, but it was crazy how unprofessional she was using her TikTok platform or in her professional environment.
Well, hello. It's your friendly neighborhood therapist who thought
That girl crazy anyway. If y'all know anything about her, she is Lulu. Like, she need about 3 therapists, one for the morning, evening, and night. Cause that's how crazy she is. She need to be on 24-hour watch. She crazy. But everything OhMeezzy saying is 1,000% right. I 100% agree with him on everything he has spoken on this video. I am in no arguments and sometimes I don't even agree with everything OhMeezzy say, but he done hit every single mark. It's unnecessary. It's just not the attention seeking, the trying to be cool. My kid, if I had one, is not dealing with none of it. I don't want them dealing with none of that. We gotta create that gap, that respect level. You're going to mess it up doing that. I've seen so many kids be disrespectful to their parents, to their teachers, because y'all not creating that gap, because y'all want to be their friend. Y'all want to feel like how they felt. Y'all want to feel like how they feel now in high school. Y'all want to get that same feeling or relive some glory days by being a teacher now. You got to stop it. Nobody cares. Stop it. Seriously, I don't get it. Me personally, just hot take, I think you need to reach a certain age before you're allowed to teach high school. I know my girl has a friend, and I'm sure she was a great teacher. But my girl has a friend that was teaching high school at like 25. No, you are not going. I just don't feel comfortable with that. My high school kid need a 35 plus year old teacher. I don't think 30 is enough. I think 35 plus for high school. Argue with your mama. I don't care. That's just how I feel. You know what I mean? I feel you need to mature you need to go through a certain amount of adult life before you can properly mentally be a role model for my high school student. Now, if you're 25 teaching, 5th grade under, cool. Not no 13, 14-year-old and you're 25. And they all the way up to 18 and you're 25 years old. I just don't agree with that. Hot take. Call it what you said. I might be dead wrong. I don't care, but that's just how I've been feeling for a very long time. Let me know in the comments what you think about that. If you agree, if you think I'm crazy, call me crazy. Do whatever. But as long as you get them comments.
she could save these hoes, but got her job terminated as a result. Story time? I think yes. Shit you not, I posted a video on Monday telling men that their dusty behavior is only harming them and that they would benefit from emotional intelligence. And I shit you not, by Friday, didn't have employment.
And it would be different if she was recommending just therapy, but she was literally giving examples of her real life patients and berating the men on the internet. Unprofessional as hell. And I know people are thinking that I'm over exaggerating, but trust me, the lines can be extremely blurred once you start to mix the unprofessional and the professional setting. Meet Adriana Williams. This is a former teacher in Monroe Comprehensive High School who was caught with allegations of essaying a child. But it's not just any child, it's her former student. Now, I'm not saying this is the explicit reason as to why this happened, but all this unprofessional behavior being normalized in these professional environments probably gave people an excuse to just let all this stuff slide and go undetected. Because when I see the past videos of how she was acting with her students, she was basically flirting with the kid.
I'll remember him. I taught him last year.
Made a 90.
That goes into what I just said. I don't know how old this lady is, but she for sure not clearing 35. You're too close in age. Some people don't know how to get their emotions in check, and they can be swayed because a lot of these kids grew up in like unhealthy households. They have, and I'm not saying he did, but I'm just saying. And what happens is they take that personality and they go trauma bond with the teacher. Well, we just not doing this, bro. Like, come on. It's just too many psychological issues with having somebody that's under the age of 35 teaching your 18-year-old kid. It's too close. Everything goes back to that gap I was talking about when I was a kid, how we created that gap to where you felt like they were untouchable. That's how it needs to stay. And because of technology and ChatGPT and social media, that the gap has narrowed. And I'm not saying that's why this happens, but that's what allows these opportunities to present themselves more often than they should.
Yet he still finds a way to see me every day. He is rough-handed. Oh, look, there he goes again.
And I could assume, just assuming, that this teacher also has some type of trauma bonding issues in her own past. And I'm not saying they trauma bonding. Let me just stop jumping to that assumption. But she has some type of connection issue that she needs to get in check that is mental for her. And that's why people like this don't need to be teachers. But they definitely don't need to be teaching people closer to their age. No.
I think he wants to be back in 9th grade.
Why do you keep coming down this hall?
She be calling me. Y'all, she be emailing me to contact me.
Why you telling stories? Why you telling
You see how he switched his story.
It look like I'm lying.
Why lie?
Yes.
I'm not.
He gets on my nerves, but that's my twin, we be vibing.
That's your twin, you be vibing, ma'am. That's a student. While I do agree that the conversation about respectability politics is real, people shouldn't be judged based off of having dreadlocks or names or, speaking with a certain, tone, vernacular, or whatever the case may be. Those things are real. But that doesn't mean that we can't uphold and maintain professional standards in professional environments. I think the reason why people are giving a bunch of leeway is because these are teachers, first and foremost. But if these were people like doctors, lawyers, accountants, or anything like that, judges, police officers, all those things, people will be looking at it extremely strange that these people want to dress a certain way, act a certain way. And because there's a bigger, broader picture saying that these people are role models to certain young individuals, they should even want to dress a certain way, be a certain way, act a certain way, and not go down this path of just being unprofessional as hell. But let me know what y'all think. Sometimes I can be off in these conversations.
Nah, he hit it on the money. He hit it on the money. No Diddy. Pause. But shout out to OhMeezzy. I agree 1,000% with everything he said, and he laid the video out real well to where, hey, you get no argument out of me. The people that you will get an argument out of is the people that either A, is that type of teacher, or B, lack social awareness or social psychology to understand the type of psychological effects that can have on students and even themselves, like the dude crying about missing his bestie? Or C, just dumb it in. Man, the more I grow up, the older I get, the more I'm like, God dang, I was probably smarter than some of my teachers. I ain't gonna even hold you. But anyway, shout out to OhMeezzy. Go subscribe to OhMeezzy channel. If you need to see it, let me go ahead and show you. Well, no, it'll be in the description. So shout out to OhMeezzy. Go subscribe to him. And and also subscribe to me. Join the Prosper Gang. We're keeping it PG, unlike a lot of these teachers. There's a whole lot of prosperity going on around this mug. With that being said, remember, there is nothing impossible to they who try. Till next time I'm out. Deuce.